Yeah, it's going. Oh, God, my hands are freezing. Oh. What is it? What's Sky guy?
Hi, it's Keith Downey here.
How you doing, Keith?
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Sean, 5-0 again against Manchester City. Obviously tough to take. Do you think is it maybe a mentality thing with your team going into these games?
Well, it's a peculiar one. It's the rare ground in the Premier League where this has occurred before on a unfortunately a consistent basis, and very similar mapped out, or certainly the last couple where we made mistakes early in the game. They've capitalised on them, which these do, and they end up running away with it. And so that's certainly something which is an odd thing. A lot made of it before the game, so it's one of them. And is there like that positive advertising about something that ends up being the result? I don't think that actually made the result. You understand what I mean? If you keep getting flooded with the same information, but no, same story. We made a mistake for their first goal, so immediately the game plan kind of gets altered. Second one, I mean, the way games are now, the referees they take a throw in 10 yards away from where it should be. Not remotely, I'm suggesting that means we win the game, but I don't think that's helpful. But they switched on, and they made use of it, and they scored a goal. And then 2-0 down here, trust me, it's really, really tough from then on.
Can you all mute, please, if you're not asking a question? Thank you.
Yeah, because that squealing is driving that.
Well done keeping going there. I don't know how you did that. I know Sean Pep's obviously been a bit annoyed with the schedule of late, and he seemed a bit downbeat there, despite the fact that he'd obviously won 5-0. But I suppose when he has options like he does, you see Riyad Mahrez coming in and scoring a hat trick. It's difficult. It's difficult to compete with that, isn't it?
Well, look, we all know the disparity in the division, but that's just the way it is. We played our part for a number of years, and with the resources we have, these have got a huge resource base. But they use it well. They've got top players. Pep's got he's a top manager. He gets them working by that. Not just playing, they work, they press. They do the things that the game needs very well. So certainly there's a lot of respect for what they do here. And forget about money. The way they coach, the way they manage, the way they take it onto the pitch. About the schedule, it's different for us, you see, because we're out of the cup. So the cup was not amazing anyway, but we're out of the cup. So therefore, the league program, look, we've had some weird times and stuff, which is not ideal, but I'm not going to start crying in about fatigue and injuries. On the other hand, I totally understand why these teams who are in many competitions, and they often are, that's a different challenge. In balance that, they have they have very big squads at least of top players. And as you said, you look at the bench today and they're not putting on, kids and stuff. They're putting on top players and top athletes. But I do understand their frustration. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but I do understand it. As a manager, it is difficult when you are trying to get teams ready on a really regular. We've had it once with the Europa League, and that was really tough. We don't carry the same size squad, and obviously our squad stretch at the minute and has been all season. But it still doesn't make it easy when you're trying to recover, trying to get the players ready again, and they've got to perform because they've got to try and win things.
I guess, Sean, you just need to brush that off, or the players need to brush it off as quick as they can. Are you confident that they can do that?
Yeah, we've been down this road before, so there's no lack of effort or intention. We just made the wrong choices, and the details of the game were far off where they were on Monday. But like I say, there's a balance to that, and that's you're playing a top side, and when these top sides really turn up, they punish you, and they punished us today without a doubt. Some of it our own doing, as suggested. But no, we know that we're not playing these sort of sides every week. By the way, I must make it clear, the Premier League's tough whoever you're playing. I know that for a fact. I've been in it for a number of years. But when these sides are really on their game, then it becomes a difficult afternoon, as it was today.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Simon Storm, BBC.
Sean, when you wouldn't get too downbeat about a result or a game like this one, but when you look at the league table, is the battle that you've been so good at winning over the years, is it getting harder?
Well, I think every year I've spoken about it. Every year for me and the club are a restart, because we don't always put the resources in to put you in a position to what you'd more call, oh, look, there's no guarantees. We've all seen some of the stories of the Premier League, but, every year you want to build and you want to enhance your capability to be in the Premier League as a minimum, of course. Last season we finished 10th. But we were stretched, as you like. I didn't think for 1 minute that was going to continue, that form over the last 9 games into this season. Not because they're not capable, but because if you get that many injuries, it's bound to affect you. It definitely has affected us. We haven't put the resources in. We know that. So that has been a challenge. The players just last week, I was just talking about, we're nearly there, other than Corky, who's a bit more long-term. And then, unbelievably, we get 4 injuries again this week. So we come to this game and we're stretched again. So hopefully they're not too serious. Hopefully next week that'll be a chance for these players to get fit, as in properly fit and injury-free. That will definitely benefit us. But there's no guarantees any season for us in the Premier League. I've said it every year, and sometimes people think I'm playing it down. I'm not playing it down at all. It's just the reality of what I've learned from being in the Premier League for a number of years. You've got to recruit well, you've got to invest. We haven't done that. It makes the challenge more difficult. And then you add in injuries, it makes it even more difficult. So there's a reality to it, the challenge. And certainly this game is not the truth and the reality of our seasons in the Premier League.
I'm just thinking that last year, a club similar size to yours, Watford, went down. Last year, Villa, a massive club, came up. This year, another massive club in Leeds came up. It just seems a very difficult battle for you to fight.
It's been a difficult battle every year, I can assure you. We finished 7th, very difficult season. Finished 10th last year, very difficult season. Got it over the line a couple of times, 15th and stuff, still difficult. There's no easy ride in the Premier League. It's simple as that. So I know the realities of the challenge. I know what they are from our club point of view. I know what they are from the team point of view. And there's a balance to it, and knowing what the team can operate like. I thought Monday we were very good and deserved to win. Today, this one got away from us against an absolutely top side. So that can happen.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Alex James, Lex Live.
Hi, Sean. Just following on from what Simon says there. Does today, and it was the same when you were here last season, and so many youngsters involved on the bench, does that sort of emphasise even more January and what you might need to try and do in that market just to flesh out what you described as a skinny squad?
No, not really. It's always emphasised every window, but it takes finance. That's always been tricky at Burnley. It's never been free-falling, as you know, the financial side. So that's always been tricky. The window in January is tough anyway, to get the right players in and the right quality and the ones that fit our model, of course, because it's a different financial model to most in the Premier League. And that's a challenge in itself. So I'm really planning on working with this group as I do and as they do, because I think this group will be very important until certainly possibly January, where we might get changes. But I'm really focusing on the group, working beyond that until I'm told different, the finances and what's going on at the club.
Just a word on the 2 debutants. Obviously, difficult afternoon for Bailey in goal, but Josh Benson seems to equip himself really well in midfield for someone so young.
Yeah, hard for Bailey, but to be honest, the team's got to operate better than that in front of him, particularly first. Our second half, I thought we lifted it a bit and we were slightly better and we asked more questions of the opposition. They still scored 2, mind you, but tough one for Bales for different reasons. But I thought Josh Benson, I thought he was terrific. Very difficult game to come into anyway. Very difficult when he's looking around him, and finding his feet, if you like. Although he's been training with us a long time, I thought Wesley was really good next to him and supported him like Wesley does. But no, I thought he gave a real good account of himself in a really, really tough game. Never went under, kept going physically and kept going with the ball when he could. When we could get a foothold in the game and little passages of play, he secured the play and he should be really pleased with himself. And I made sure he knew that after the game.
Just on the injuries, obviously Johan on the bench, I guess just not rest, is that right?
Yeah, Johan, I spoke to him the other day. I still don't think he's free of his injuries and running freely and with that power. So I said it was, I wanted him on the bench, but I said it was unlikely I was going to put him on because I need him to get that training period under his belt when we can get into that real fitness, that real sharpness, which he's getting there. He is getting there. Josh Brownhill hurt his back, and he's been going along very well for us, of course. Bardo hurt his back, just a twist and a tweak. So he couldn't get involved. Corky, obviously, longer term. Brady with his hamstring injury. I forgot. I think there's one other. They keep rotating. Sorry?
Popey.
Yeah, Pope. Well, sorry, yeah, for different reasons, concussion. Although peculiar is a strange thing about the rules. I'm not laughing at the result, but Just funny how you can drive in and out of a training ground in a car when you've had a really mild concussion, but you're not allowed to play a football match, even though you're allowed to train. So that was a bit peculiar. But anyway, maybe the stresses and the rigours of the game, of course, I understand that. But from a medical point of view, there are rules, and we've applied them rules to Popey for the right reasons. But I'm pretty sure he'll be fit and well and clear for next week. So them amount of injuries for us, we just got back. I remember speaking to you and the others before the Monday game, saying we're nearly there. There was Corky, obviously, but we're nearly there. And then, lo and behold, we lose these literally yesterday, 2 of them yesterday. So therefore, we had to change the shape, change the way we looked in order to take the game on today.
Any of them got a chance for Everton? Obviously, okay.
Yeah, no, well, the good thing is I don't think they're well, look, they'll get checked over with scans and stuff, but I don't think they're too serious of injury, but they've cost us today and they couldn't get involved. So, yeah, more hopeful for next week that they'll start coming back into the squad.
Thank you, Sean.
Thanks. Alex. Dan Black, Burnley Express.
Hi, Sean.
Hiya.
A little bit of a change of tack going into the game today, but I guess we didn't really get a chance to see how effective that could have been given how quick City went ahead. Yeah,
that's exactly it. We were talking as a staff just quickly before I came out to do the media. And, Woney pointed that out. He said, look, we wanted to change this, wanted to activate it. We didn't get a chance to activate it because you give them a chance and they take them like they do. And then, if that one doesn't go in, you can maybe alter it very quickly and it's a reminder, but it goes in. And then pretty shortly afterwards, they score their second. And it's very difficult then. These sides, even at this level, they're confident anyway. We know that the way they play, but it just breeds the confidence. And even during a game, you can see it. They start flowing even easier, and they take more risks, and then risks start coming off, and it becomes a really tough afternoon. So we've been here before and witnessed that, unfortunately. Game plan wise, we didn't really activate it because we made a mistake so early in the game. We didn't have a chance to activate it. Look, it's a tiny thing. I don't remotely, as I suggested earlier on in this interview, I don't think it necessarily changes the grand scheme of the result. But, the second one, I've got a gripe because the ball goes out one place and he throws it in from another place and they score a goal. And I think that has to be looked at by a VAR. They decided not to. Like I say, I'm not remotely saying that would have won us the game, but it just might calm it down. If you're only 1-0 and you're creeping towards half-time, you've still got a chance to breathe in the second half. But when you're 3-0 down against these, virtually impossible or certainly improbable that you get back into the game.
It must be quite frustrating as well, obviously, because there were goals that you wouldn't normally give away.
Unfortunately, that is a peculiar thing. So not just the scoreline, but if you look at the last couple of games we've had here, when we have been well beaten, we've given them goals. And that's not like we normally do. But you can't do that here. Well, you can't do that to any of the. You can't do that to any side actually in the Premier League. But you certainly can't do it to the top side. It's very difficult to turn the top side around when you're giving them goals. And we made a nasty habit at this ground. It's seemingly only really this ground where we've really got a seemingly bad habit of doing that. And we've done it against Ace, certainly with the first and switching off for the second, despite me questioning where it was taken from, etc. But we switched off and they capitalised on that. And then switched off on the third as well, actually. Round the back post, we've not read the run. They score a good goal from their point of view, but a really, really weak goal from our point of view. 3-0 up here is very, very difficult.
I know you've already mentioned him, but
3-0 down. Sorry, a Freudian slip there. That'd have been nice if we were 3-0 up. We certainly weren't. 3-0 down.
I know you've already mentioned Josh, but he was particularly impressive today, given the circumstances. He kept going right to the end, fighting and picking up some good spots to break up the play and calm on the ball as well.
Yeah, really pleased. I made it clear to him afterwards. The players did as well. He's learning. He's been a slow learner. We got him out of Arsenal. It's kind of taken him time to keep working at his game, which he has done. Very fit lad. He had a good loan spell as well at Grimsby, and that went well. He's come back in and he's been around it, and he's conducted himself really well today. Not just the build up to it. He looked ready. He didn't look edgy. He looked calm. And I was impressed by that because it's not just on the pitch. You've got to know how these players operate, how they are in themselves. And there was a nice calmness about him. I thought he was ably assisting there. Westy, I thought them two had a real go today. Others can do much better in my opinion, but I thought them two stuck to task and really stuck at it against the top side.
He'll learn from that, and he should really come on from that as well, shouldn't he, from that experience?
Yeah, I mean, that's the idea. That's the platform that we want. You've got to taste playing against these sides sometimes, whether it goes well for you or not. It did go well for him as a player individually, but what I mean is the result. That's all part of the learning. It can't all be roses, trust me.
Cheers, Sean. Thank you.
Cheers.